back, my friends, to the Derate the Hate podcast. I am Wilk from wilksworld.com, and this is episode 4 of our podcast. So thank you for joining me, and thank you to all the new listeners that are joining us for the first time. Today we're going to be talking about something that we have all been hearing about a lot lately, and it has to do with the word contagious. Now, I'm probably not going to be talking about it in the way that you might think, but a smile or a bad mood can be every bit as contagious as anything that we may encounter in our everyday lives, and sometimes more so. And I know a lot of people don't think about that, but it's true. So, before we get started with that, though, I'd like to just reset the stage here for what the Derate the Hate podcast is. And what I'm doing here is I am attempting to better the world one attitude at a time. There's so much doom and gloom out there, a lot of hate, a lot of people that just don't get along. And a lot of that stems from the fact that we don't understand each other, don't listen to each other. And oftentimes we put up with a lot of negativity from people just simply because we don't want to hurt their feelings or don't want to offend them. And quite honestly, there are certain things that people do need to be called out on because maybe they don't even understand that they're a big part of the problem. So, DerateTheHate.com podcast, bettering the world one attitude at a time, and that's exactly what I'm trying to do here. So, if you haven't had an opportunity, go ahead and subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. Share it, leave comments, leave feedback. And contact us through any number of ways, whether it be our Facebook page or our web page, anywhere, and we'll do our best to get back to you. So, with that said, let's get into it. Let's start talking about smiles and bad moods and how they're contagious. So first things first, I want you to just think about something real quick. So in your mind's eye, I want you to go ahead and think about the most negative person that you interact with on a daily basis. I don't mean, the general grumpy guy that you see once in a while, but somebody that you deal with on a regular basis, somebody that you see almost daily, and that person happens to be in a bad mood. So when you get up in the morning, do you generally want to see that person? I mean, is that the first person that you want to interact with each day is some grumpy person? Or would you much rather interact with somebody in a positive mood? Somebody who's always got a smile on their face, somebody who's always, happy, bubbly, good mood. And that should tell you right there the kind of attitude that you should be presenting or the type of person that you should try to be. Because I don't know about you, but, personally, when I'm dealing with grumpy people all the time, it makes me feel, it puts a pit in my stomach. It makes me feel, makes me feel a bit agitated, a little bit ornery. But there's definitely people that I encounter on a daily basis that are more of that smiley, bubbly, happy personality. And those are people who I actually look forward to encountering and look forward to being around, as opposed to those people who are constantly negative, never have anything good to say. You would have to drag a smile out of them to get one, and I don't think that there's let's just talk about this. Let's talk about the workplace now. I obviously know with the situation that we're facing right now, a lot of people out of work, and that's a bad thing in and of itself. And quite honestly, that's a hard thing to get through emotionally anyway. But think about the workplace, and before all this started, I used to hear these commercials, and I've read studies and everything that up to 70% of the people out there, hate their job or wish they did something else or whatever. But do you ever stop to really think why? And when I stop and think about why, and when I stop and think about the things that bother me the most about the workplace, it's not the workload itself. It's generally the negativity and the people who bring that negativity to the workplace. I think if more people really stopped and thought about it, their job. I mean, most people are not going to pick a career that they hate or they don't want to do. But I think the biggest thing that people dislike about their workplace, and I'm sure there's studies out there to back this up and to prove it, but just from my 30 years in the workplace, the biggest problem that I've ever had to face is dealing with negative people and dealing. We are spending, on average, if you got a full-time job, you're spending over 2,000 hours a year at a typical job in a typical workplace. And if the people that you're interacting with all the time are in such a bad mood, that bad mood is going to wear off on you. I mean, there's no way that it can't when you're constantly surrounded by negativity and negative people. There's just no way that can't become a bothersome deal. But conversely, if you think about, the people that you interact with most often, if those people are happy people, if they're bubbly people, if they're in a good mood all the time, I mean, that can make all the difference in the world in the workplace or at home or in the places that you choose to spend your money. Like we talked in a previous episode, we talked about the fact that Chick-fil-A is one of the most phenomenal eating establishments in the country. And why? Because of the way that you're treated, that bubbly personality that you're encountered with every time you show up to one of their establishments. I mean, it is unmatched by most businesses, period. And I think the same thing goes for your work life, your home life. I think more people have to realize that attitude that you portray to the people around you and the things that you do are very, very much having an effect upon all the people that choose to spend time with you. And so, just because you're in a bad mood doesn't mean you have the right to push that bad mood onto other people. And you might say, well, I'm in a bad mood. It's not my responsibility how other people take it. But really it is. I've talked before about another talk show host, or a nationally syndicated talk show host, Dennis Prager. And he talks about how, a bad mood is like bad body odor. It's not necessarily you that it affects the most, and maybe you don't even know how bad you smell, but everybody around you most certainly does. And that bad mood that you are portraying, or your bad mood persona, is having a terrible effect upon the people that you are surrounded with. And like I said, conversely, a smile is every bit as contagious. I mean, you think about it, go back to what I initially said. The smile that you have in your face, or on your face, can be absolutely contagious. And you walk into a restaurant, or you walk into your workplace, or you come in at home at night, and the people that you encounter as you walk into that environment, whatever that environment may be, if that person portrays some serious positivity, they got a smile on their face, they got good things to say, they got a upbeat attitude, that's going to be a phenomenal thing for you to walk into, as opposed to walking into an environment full of negativity and bad moods and frowns, and it's just that attitude that is so contagious, and so much of what you perceive, or when you're receiving it, or so much of what you present when it's somebody else that you're encountering is every bit as contagious as something or anything else we can encounter in our life, whether that be a scary virus like we're dealing with now, or the flu, or the common cold, or anything else. That bad mood or that smile can be every bit as contagious as anything else that we encounter. So with all that being said, we have to be very real about what we are dealing with now during this COVID-19 crisis, and how it's affecting us as a nation, and how the reaction to this virus has put millions of our neighbors out of work. We've got people who have worked their whole lives to build small businesses that will probably never reopen. We've got people stuck at home for days and weeks and months on end that are going stir crazy. All those things are absolutely terrible, and quite honestly, it is very tough to smile through some of those things. But you know what? Even if we have to make it, sometimes that smile that you have on your face, providing you don't have a mask on, that smile is going to be what somebody else needs to get them through that moment in time that you see each other. Or, that positive persona, that positive personality that you can present may be exactly what that person needs to get them over that hump or get them over that feeling they've got at that particular time. So, we're all dealing with huge adversities right now with what we're dealing with. There's no question about that. And getting through it is going to be everybody's own personal battle. But together, if we can present a positive attitude when necessary or when dealing with other people, that little bit might be exactly what that person needs. So, right now is one of the darkest periods this country has seen in my lifetime. And I'm sure it is for most of the people that are listening to this. But, we're going to get through this. And in order to get through it, it's going to take some extraordinary effort upon everybody in some form or fashion. And maybe your part is just not being that toxic and negative person in the workplace, or maybe being that smile that person needed to see to get them past what they needed to get past at that particular moment that they saw you. But again, it's so important to remember that a smile and a bad mood can be every bit as contagious as anything else that we deal with in life, and be that positive force. Do not be that negative and toxic person that somebody else has to deal with because they're forced to deal with you. Okay, so to wrap up things, like I like to do at the end of each show is I like to find a good deed story or a good Samaritan story, because as we all know, the doom and gloom media, the if it bleeds it leads media, has got plenty of negative stories for everybody every day. But I like to look each week. I like to look for different stories that make me feel good, make me think about the good nature of human beings. And this week I'm going to talk about a young man named Jose Nunez Romanese, a teenager in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I probably said the name wrong, but Jose Nunez Romanese in Albuquerque, New Mexico, was out to deposit some money in an ATM so that he could order his grandfather some socks online. He wanted to put his grandfather's money in the account so that he could order some socks for him online. And what did he find when he was at the ATM? He found a clear bag full of cash sitting there. So he picked it up, looked at it, realized what it was, and he did the right thing. He took that bag full of cash, took it and turned it into the police department. The police department was able to determine that some subcontractor for the bank that was servicing the ATM left the bag of cash there. But this young man was able to evaluate this situation, look at the situation, and realize that this was an opportunity to do something good. It turns out the bag had $135,000 worth of cash in it, and he turned it in, and way to go, Jose. I mean that they say character is what you do when nobody's looking. Well, there you go. I mean, this young man showed incredible character. He's 19 years old, obviously raised in a very positive manner. He's got a good set of morals, and this young man is going places. So, Jose Nunez Romanese of Albuquerque, New Mexico, good job, man. Keep it up. Keep doing what you're doing. So, again, I'm Wilk with WilksWorld.com. This is the Derate the Hate podcast, and I'll finish off like I do each week and say, when you can get back out there, be kind to each other, be grateful for everything that you've got, and always remember, it is up to you to make each day what you want it to be. So until next week's episode, from all of us here at Wilkes World, thank you for listening.